Hey everybody, we're going to see what the chances are of restoring this 20-year-old battery out of our abandoned motorhome. Coming up next. Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, we're going to see if we can revamp any of these deep cycle batteries out of our abandoned motorhome. We have 4 of them. This is probably the best one, sitting at 6 volts. That will take a charge up to 12 volts, and then it'll peter right back down to about 6.5 volts. We also have the battery out of the Kushman. That is much newer, a couple years old, I think 5 or 6 years old, and that's just in the last month petered off to about 9 volts and requires a jump every time I want to use it. So before I go spending in excess of $1,000 in batteries between the motorhome, which I don't want to spend $1,000 in batteries for that right now, and the Kushman, if I can spend just a little bit of money and time to try and rehab these batteries, we're going to try that. Just in the last couple of weeks, my feeds have been trending with how to restore old batteries, mostly videos outside the States, a couple here within the States. So we're going to see if we can do anything ourselves and kind of prove or disprove this theory. I know results are going to vary based on the quality of the battery. There may be an internal short, other damage we can't see. So it's going to be a crapshoot. But we've got some trusty materials. We've got some distilled water. We've got some Coca-Cola, and our secret weapon, electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Now, if you've got that obscure reference, continue along. Also saying, do not follow my likely poor advice here. I don't know if this is going to work. It might blow up in my face. That's why I'm going to have on eyes. I got long sleeves and gloves. The other thing I want to say is if you're going to do this and follow my bad advice, do not dump the contents of this down your drain, in your lawn, or on your driveway. Dispose of it properly according to your own local guidelines. Battery acid, bad. Battery acid, bad. Bad battery acid. Anyways, the steps we're going to do is I want to clean off all the scuzz on top of the battery so when we pull off the caps, we don't introduce any more crud inside. Thank you, garage furnace. Second, I'm going to take and dump the contents into a container. Then I'm going to pour in our fizzy Coca-Cola, agitate it around a little bit, and see if that cleans out any more scale and scuzz inside. Dump that out. Give it a rinse with the distilled water. And then our last step is going to be filling up with some of the electrolytes and topping off with the distilled water. And then, of course, charge the battery. So that's our process. Let's just kind of get into it. Alrighty, I've got my super clean. I'm going to find a screwdriver or something to try and pry some of the chunks and nut shells out. Try and at least start with a relatively clean plate. Pull these off. Now I do have 4 of these batteries in the abandoned motorhome. I did buy 2 new engine batteries behind me because the ones that were in there were frozen at about 1/2 of a volt. Not even going to bother with those. But I didn't need these to get me home. Much like I didn't need power steering. If you haven't seen that video, go up here somewhere. That was an adventure and a half. And again, like I said, I would like to try even for a season or two. That coach isn't going anywhere for a while with all the repairs it needs. But if I could find something, even one or two of these batteries, so I can run the 12-volt accessories inside, that would be a huge help without spending. I think these are, well, let's just figure 180 bucks a pop before any perks or deals might be available. And really nice if one of those battery companies would send a few of those lithium batteries my way for this project. That would be awesome. So if you're watching, hit me up below. Or on Instagram or Facebook or tim@docsautos.com. This is an old stowaway, and the date on it is December of 2004. So we are going on 20 plus years up December of 2004. So yeah, we are just rolled over that 20-year mark. Let me get my air compressor and blow some of these chunks out of here real quick. Alrighty, we'll try these stylish guys out. Where's my bucket? There's my bucket. So basically I'm going to dump out the old contents of this. Pull off the caps. Now, one thing to look for is if your cells are dry or if there is fluid up to at least over the plates, and all 6 openings here, they are full of liquid, sludge, whatever the stuff is right now. So that is a bonus. That is one good thing to look for. If your cells were low, that's going to be one reason for them not holding a charge or keeping a charge or charging period. So we're going to go ahead and dump this out and see how we go. This is a really awkward position. All right. Well, let's clean up our little mess over here. That's great. Thankfully, I've got a big old pile of paper towels here because I planned to make a mess. Just gonna set you on the ground while I finish picking up my mess. Okay. Oop. I'm going to set this behind me for the time being. Away from pets and small children. Let's get our battery back up here. Oh. Now, story goes, oh, look at all the, yep, there's all the plates in there. Let me get a flashlight here. You know, I'm guessing there's not going to be a lot of hope for this thing. I have more hope for the Kushman battery. But pour some Coca-Cola in here, let it fizzle up. All right, all of my cells are covered. I've got just enough left for a little beverage. All right, now, what the process is to do, I'm going to put the caps back on. And I'm going to agitate it a little bit, not Not a ton, just enough to sort of shake things up. And then I'm gonna let it sit for a while. Let it do its fizzy stuff in there, then come back out and dump it out. And hopefully we'll have chunks that come out. Now luckily I've got the nice go handle, as Derek would say. So I can hold it and just kind of shake it around like this and agitate it. All right. Don't want to have too much pressure built up in there. So I'm going to let that sit in there for a while because it's actually about supper time for me. So when I come back, we'll dump this out, pour in some distilled water, agitate it again, pour it out. And we've got almost 2 liters of Coca-Cola, and each of these is about a quart, I believe, 32 ounces. Yep. 2 quarts, something like that, half a liter, almost 1 liter. So if we do about a 50-50 mix of electrolytes to water, that should be a good starting point because, of course, as you know with your battery, as it evaporates, you add more water and it keeps going. So I'll stop talking, I'm gonna eat, and we'll come back in a bit. Okay, we have let this fester for a little while. And believe it or not, I mean, believe it because it is. Okay, now we've dropped. We had originally still about 6.5 volts with the Coke in there. Now we're down to 5 and change. So we're gonna go ahead, pour out our Coca-Cola. And see what goodness comes out. That's still heavy. Well, it's kind of chunky. You saw what came out. I really didn't. So now what we're going to do, we're going to pour in some of our distilled water, shake it around again, empty it out, and shake it around again. The agitation in there, and empty it out. Ow, it pinches the hands. Oh, it's almost a big mess. All right. Alrighty. Ow, that hurt. So the last thing we're gonna do is go in, drop in some of these electrolytes. Do not squeeze bottle when cutting the tip. Is this a bris or something? Anyways, I am going to pour the electrolytes in just to the bottom of the top of the plates, and then fill the rest of the cavity with the distilled water. See if I have a small funnel here. I can use. It's clean. It's not covered in crusties. Just help me make the most of getting everything in here I can. Now I've looked at a whole bunch of videos online where, oh, you hook it up to your welder, you hook it up to another battery, just a ton of different suggestions. And what I'm going to do, oh, I can already start to see a little bit of fizzies in there, for better or worse. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook it up to my, I've got a top-down charger here somewhere. Oh yeah, it's over on the Kushman. I'm going to hook it up to the charger. It has a repair mode, which should go in there and desulfate the plates as well and give it a nice slow charge. I'm going to give that an attempt here versus just cramming it full of, 5 or 6 or 50 amp charges, because that seems like the better idea to me. And I think, yeah, 1 quart is going to be just about enough. And I can top off the rest with our distilled water. Just trying to look in here and gauge. Oh, there we go. That's our first container down. I did get a couple of these, not knowing exactly how much I need to fill it, or how many batteries I would do. Because if this works, at least I'm going to try 2 batteries, a really bad one and a marginally bad one. And if this does work on this one for sure, I'm going to try the other 3 batteries. I think 2 of them were 2 volts. The other one I think may have had 4 or 5 volts in it. I don't recall off the top of my head. But like I said, if we can resurrect these batteries, even for a season, so I can go in and get more work done on that abandoned motorhome. Again, I have not tried the slide out at all. I don't know how well / if that works. There is a 12 volt inverter on board, but it is not necessarily meant for powering high draw things like the slide or starting the generator. But that is a topic for another day. Okay, we have our electrolytes, our distilled water, and I'm guessing we're still going to be very minimal voltage, which is what I would expect. Oh, 7.5 volts. Okay, that's actually a little promising. Let me show you so you don't think I'm pulling the wool over your eyes. If I can. That's the wrong size. Need to be able to hold this on. Alrighty, I'll show you. Hook it up. Have to zoom in here. Tim, zoom in. But you can see we're at over 7 volts, where before we were at 6.5. I guess I didn't show you that originally, but we were at about 6.5 or 6.4 volts, which to me, just replacing fluid, seems like a solid win so far. Let me go over and grab that battery charger. Now, here's where it could get kind of spicy. Again, we've got our top down. It's the TB8000 charger. I've reviewed this a couple of years ago. I've got 2 of them now, actually, through a weird story. But it does cold battery. So if you've got a frozen battery, if you've got a regular 12 volt battery, a 6 volt battery, a lithium ion battery, or the regen, or recovery mode, we'll try that. So 12 volt normal, 12 volt cold battery, 12 volt lithium ion, 12 volt small battery for power sports or something, 6 volt normal, or 12 volt repair. I'm going to try that repair option first. Fire it up. Again, got the eyes on. Error 4. Okay, so it's not enough voltage yet to register with this to fix it. It is a smarter charger, so that's, I guess, a bonus. So I may have to go find a different charger. Let me try that. I have a completely old dumb charger down in the shop. And if I have to grab that, I will. But I have this guy here I picked up at auction a couple years ago. It's a Vector 15 amp charger with a 50 amp start option. Oh. There is a recondition option. So I'm going to try that on this one as well. Oop, spark. 7 volts it says. Okay. I'm going to try the battery engine start just for a minute. We'll see what it does for us. Guess maybe I can put the probes in here and see what we're getting for voltage. 13.6, 13.6, 14. I can hear it bubbling in here. It's bubbling, it's gassing off, it's doing its thing. I'll show you here with the voltmeter. It is holding and gurgling. So I know I said I wasn't going to throw a bunch of volts at it, but I am. And that brought me to 9 volts. Okay, well, let's throw our top down back on here and see if that will do anything for us now. I have a feeling that one is a little better in terms of smart charging than this one down here is. So if we're able to leverage this guy, I'd like to. Nope, error again. Okay, maybe I need to give it a few cycles and get the voltage up, but nope, okay. Let me give this thing a few rounds with the bigger charger here with the start function. And then I'll see if we can get a charger on it for some extended period of time. That'd be great. But so far, we're at 7.5 volts. All right, it's going again. I'm gonna let this run its course and we'll come back when I can actually get a charger to stay on here and charge. Alrighty, we went down to the shop. I went down to the shop, picked up 2 chargers. I picked up my old Schumacher generic analog charger from 20 years ago. And also grabbed a Noco Genius Series 2. We had on the pickup maintaining it, and this does have a slow charge trickle method on it as well. So that's what we've got set up and reading just under 8 volts now, so it's a slow process. Hopefully it's going to bring it up to us overnight here. I can hear and see things cooking. Let me grab you, point you over here so you can see stuff's actually working. See it bubbling. Let me put the microphone down there, see if you can hear it. It's pretty quiet, but I can hear it. Now, some of the other videos I saw online, people were hooking up, like I said, higher amperage, whether it's a 200 amp start or a welder, and you'd see vapors and gas and smoke come out of the holes here. That's not what I want to do. I'm just gonna go, low and slow, try and bring this thing back overnight, and we'll come back. Hopefully it's gonna be tomorrow, and we'll have a reading better than 7.5 volts. We're getting close to 8. It's slowly starting to peak up there. I see it's kind of going up and then down and kind of like this. So hopefully this is gonna get us back to 12 volts. We'll let it sit. And again, if this isn't successful, I wasn't expecting much, and hopefully we'll have much better luck with the battery out of the Kushman. So we can at least try and find a baseline of what is a good battery to try and save and what is a battery just worth recycling and spending the 180 bucks on a new one. So I'm gonna put a pin in this, let it sit overnight, and we'll come back tomorrow, and hopefully we've got some better results. Well, it's a day later, and that went about as well as expected, not nearly as well as I had hoped. After I turned off the camera last night, just had a old analog charger running at 2 amps on the charge. Something went pop, and I wasn't sure if it was the battery or the bottle of pop changing sizes with the temperature here in the garage. But I put the voltmeter across it, and what we once had about 7.5, 8 volts slowly climbing was down to 3.5 to 4 volts. So that pretty much confirmed the battery popped and is going to be recycled. I'd like to, I don't want to spend money to buy new batteries. So if somebody, Patriot, Red Auto wants to sponsor a couple of house batteries for that RV, please let me know. But what we're gonna do now is move on to the Kushman battery. That's about 4 years old, and hopefully there's some more life we can revive out of that versus this 20-year-old battery. Again, I didn't have a lot of hopes. I was overly optimistic, but those dreams and hopes were shattered, much like, well, another topic for another day. So we're gonna go ahead and just do some camera magic. I'm gonna dump the stuff out of here because it's literally 24 hours old, and if it doesn't look already full of just crap, I'm gonna try and throw that in the Kushman battery. Why waste everything here? Again, since it's literally brand new, and see if we can get a little more than 9 volts out of that battery. Right now it's actually sitting at 11 volts, which is good. So hopefully there's some hope there. That's a lot of hope, right? That's what we need, is hope. So like I said, I'm gonna swap stuff around. We'll come back when I've got the Kushman battery here, ready to put a charge back on it. I'll show you a quick before clip with the voltage so you see I'm not playing camera magic. Trying to be as upfront and honest with you as we can, especially on this stuff, because I don't know what I'm doing, but heck, like I said, for 20 bucks, I'll give it a shot. So we'll come back. All right, got the battery out of the Kushman. Try and prop this up here where you can see it, and you should see about, don't drop in the battery acid, you should see about 11.7 or 11.8 volts. Let's see. Yep, about 11.8. So a little low. We want to see again that 12 voltish range. So see what we can do. This is, like I said, from July of 2020, so about 4.5 years old. I think that math sound about right. 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24. Yeah, my math is sometimes good. So we're gonna go ahead, pour this stuff out, pour that stuff in, and see where we're at. Again, I'm gonna give it a little shake with the Coca-Cola and start the process over. We have successfully, if you call it that, at this stage of the process, exchanged all of our old battery juice into our green pail behind us that's covered up away from kids and critters. We took the battery juice out of the battery that we know was failed, poured it in here with a little bit more because this one holds a little more than that other deep cycle did. So we are topped off. We're gonna go ahead, plug in our new smart charger and see where we're at. The voltmeter reads 11.5 volts right now, if you can see that. And my goal is this battery needs to go back in the Cushman because due to my lack of planning, recycling is tomorrow and the recycle needs to go down to the curb, which is a quarter mile either direction, and it snowed. So I'd really prefer not to drag this recycling cart through the snow. Anyways, like I said, we've got our smart charger plugged in to the battery. Now we're going to go ahead and plug it into the power. And see what we get. 12 volt normal. Hit OK and see if it starts. Okay, it is going through the paces. This top down, the TB8000 goes through a series of steps to check the battery voltage, make sure nothing is backwards with your connections. And now it is showing 11.7 volts and it's putting in 0.7 amps. Now we're going up to about 1 amp. And we're just going to let this one sit for a while. We're at 25% now. This does have a repair option, but I don't think we're going to need that. And now we're up to 1.4 amps, 1.5 amps. A little bit of bubbling going on in here. I see this is showing 11.9 volts. We're 11.75 here, so a little variance, that's fine. And we're going to go ahead, pause this for now, come back in a couple hours. It's 8:30 or 8:20 now. I'm going to give this thing an hour to see where we're at. Pull off the charger and see if our battery voltage drops. This one, when it was running, it was running at 14.7 volts, so the alternator is working. We knew that. When you turned it off, it would drop down to 12 volts, 12.3 immediately, and then slowly over the course of 30 to 40 seconds, get back down in that 11 volt range. So for a success for me, this is going to hold over 12 volts. So again, if we can manage that, for me, this is going to be a success. And like I said, $20, $25 versus $130, $140 minimum. I mean, this is an interstate battery. Those are not cheap. So we're going to let this go, and I'll come back in a while. Yeah, now we're at 12.4 volts, putting 4 amps through it. Like I say, we'll show you once more. And we will return in about an hour or so. Well, we've let this sit for about an hour, hour and a half. We've been putting about 4 amps into it. It was charging about 13.6 volts. Right now we're sitting right about 12 volts. So what I'm going to do is cap this back up. It was going ahead and gurgling and bubbling here. So it's doing something positive. We're still at a good voltage. We're holding 12 volts. And I'm just going to put it back together, put it back in the Cushman, because like I said, I've got recycling first thing tomorrow morning, but I'm going to let it trickle charge, and we will come back in the morning with a final verdict on how it goes. I think we're going to be good. A couple of weeks' time is certainly going to tell the tale on that. But right now, it looks like it's going to be a positive outcome for this battery. Again, 4.5 years old. Hopefully this is going to do the trick for us. So I'm going to put it all back together, let it charge overnight, and we will come back with our final result in the morning and let you know how it went. It is the next day, and I let this thing trickle charge all night, and I actually took it off charge this morning, put it back on trickle charge, and we are doing a lot better. We're sitting right now at 12.8 volts. I did take it off the charger, let it sit for a while. It went down to 12.6. Fine. Put it back in the charger. It's just trickling here at 12.8 volts still, with just about half of an amp trickling in some power. And voltmeter shows 12.67. Meter on the charger says 12.8 now. So actually we're done, just finished up here. Let's just zoom in on that. So if I unplug the charger, we are still holding here at like 12.66. If you can zoom in on that. I am tentatively going to call this a win. We're going to throw it back in the Kushman, run it around for a while, but at least being off the charger, we are holding power even before this process. Like I said, as soon as I would turn the Kushman off, the battery would dip down to that 11.6, 11.7 for volts, and just not be where I thought it should be for the 4.5-year-old battery. So I'm going to call this a win. Again, your results are very likely going to vary somewhere between this and the completely dead 20-year-old battery. So again, if you're going to try it at your own risk. Be safe, wear eyes, wear gloves, long sleeves. I didn't spill any of this on myself or get myself wet. I don't want to. I don't want to know what happens. Probably nothing horribly bad. I'm not going to turn into a gremlin, but I don't want to find out. So for right now, we're going to wrap this up, clean up my mess, and hopefully this has been informative. I know some of the other videos I've seen, they're a minute and a half long of a very high-level overview of what they've done. This is, I think, far more inclusive of the steps taken and added details you may not care about. But I try and be as descriptive and informative in my videos as I can, because for me, the way I learn is having a complete A to Z process with all of the steps in between. So trying to find those hopefully are helpful for you. Again, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button below, like the video. Have you tried this before? What have been your results? So far, like I said, I wasn't expecting much out of the RV battery. I hoped, but this one, again, it's an Interstate from July of 2020. Hopefully I can get another couple of years out of this without having to replace it. My main concern is just having it able to start the vehicle, so if the wife needs to use it, she doesn't have to mess around with a jump pack or a charger or anything. Just turn the key and go like it should be. Anyways, until the next video, have fun doing whatever you're doing in the garage or shop or wherever you're doing it. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.